hello from the second round of the NCAA Women's Tournament. Julia Westerman, joined here by Sports Director Rick Henry, and we've got an exciting game on our hands today. The border battle is back between South Carolina and North Carolina.
Yeah, these two teams, they've had a few rounds in the postseason before. I'm really looking forward to this game. They met early in the season, and South Carolina won by 7, very tight game. But we'll see how much each of these teams has improved. You know what I see as a big key today? We'll see how much gas North Carolina has left in the tank. Because I'm looking at the minutes played. One of their starters played 37, another 39, another 40. And we'll see if they have anything left in the tank and how much fatigue will play a factor. And if you look at South Carolina, they had the big win over PC. I think they had 2 players that played over at least 30 or more. One had 30 minutes, the other 32. So if I'm Don Staley, I'm going to see, hey, let's see how long the Tar Heels can run with us. I'd put a little pressure on them, make them work for everything, and then when you get the ball on offense, go.
That's something I've noticed kind of all season going along with that is some teams come out of the gate so quick against this South Carolina team, and then they're out of steam by the end of the first quarter, and that's kind of when it switches over to just being South Carolina's game, especially looking at those minutes per game for a lot of their players. They're not going to be able to come out that quick because if they do, they're not going to have anything left by the end of the game.
One thing in North Carolina's favor, since they have played them before, they're not going to have that extra adrenaline rush, I think, because they're playing the #1 undefeated team in the country. They go, okay, we played them before. We know what they're all about. So if they come out and say, hey, okay, we know our bench isn't deep. We've got to be real careful about how much energy they expend right off the bat, like you say, because anyone who competes in anything, if it's a big game, and like at the beginning, it's like, oh, and then you go, hands on your knees, and you need a breather. So that's something that we'll be watching very closely here in the beginning of the game.
Well, another key point of this game is the Gamecocks have Camila Cardoso back. That's their leading scorer, their leading rebounder, and the most length on their team. You got to wonder how much energy she has coming in because she wasn't able to play in game 1.
Well, she's going to be well rested, and so maybe the suspension is going to be like a blessing because they can keep her in the game maybe a little bit longer, and she wants to show everyone, hey, don't forget about me. You know, I'm one of the best players in the country, so I think she'll come out looking to exert herself right away. I'm expecting a big game from her.
Well, and junior guard Bree Hall also did not play in the first game. She was out here warming up with the team. I see her right now. She is warming up with the Gamecocks. She was very non-committal yesterday in the locker room, talking about if she was going to play today, but she talked about if she were to play, how she would attack this game and whatnot. So it'll be interesting to see if she's back in the lineup today. It's looking promising with her warming up with the team.
Raven Johnson, Malaysia Fulwiley, with their speed and the way they can get the ball up court, find their open teammates, I think they're going to play a big role in this. Again, if those 2 guards are really flowing and rolling, it could be a very long day for the UNC Tar Heels.
Well, speaking of Raven, she was kind of the one in the locker room saying the most about this matchup. Most everybody else was like, yeah, I mean, we've all developed, both of these teams, UNC and USC, we've developed, we're ready to take on this matchup again. Raven was saying, we've developed in a way that I don't think this game is going to be as close as it was last time. She said that point blank.
I'd have to agree with her. When you look at how much they improved after the first game with North Carolina, and they were really crushing people. So you take that along with the fact that North Carolina, they've got to be fatigued, and you know they can't get up and an up and down matchup with the Gamecocks, so they attract me, or else this game will be over at halftime.
And one more thing to hit on, Chloe Kitts' game last game, 21 points. 3 total players off the bench combined for 43 points. That's almost as much as the starters. Those 5s combined for 48 points in game 1. So taking a look at those minutes for UNC, I don't know if they're going to be able to compete with that threat off the bench, especially because the Gamecocks roster might be back up to 10 today.
Yeah, and if you look at North Carolina's bench from the first game, it's like, 5 points. 5 points from their 3 bench players who got into the game.
That's been such a key thing for the Gamecocks this year, their depth across the board. Game time's coming up at 1 o'clock on ABC. We will have a recap at 6 o'clock, 10, and 11 tonight.